Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Real Watchers live stream for this is September 25th. Can you believe it? We're already in the end of September, well into spooky season, but we're almost in spooky month. So I hope you are all super excited for spooky month. I'm going to go ahead and address something real quick here. Kevin is not able to be here today, as we talked about last week. We were supposed to have a special guest today, but unfortunately got a power outage about 20 minutes before we started the stream. So our special guest today was supposed to be Nadia from the YouTube channel Horror and More. You can find her channel down in the description still if you want to go ahead and check her out, give her a subscribe, a follow. We really appreciate that. If her power is restored and she's able to join us later on in the show, we'll absolutely have her on here, which just sucks. I was really waiting and hoping to talk with her on the show and have her on because she's such an awesome person, and I love talking with her about movies. So it just sucks that the power had to go out right at that time. So, but Kevin, you're supposed to be working, bud. But hello. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. But hope you're all having a great week so far. Hopefully nothing bad is going on. But we got quite a few stories to talk about today. For those of you who are just joining again, we were supposed to have a special guest today, Nadia from the YouTube channel Horror and More, who has been in our chat several times since we started the stream. She is unable to make it due to a power outage at the moment. Hopefully that power outage will end and she'll be able to rejoin us. So hopefully that gets resolved pretty quickly. Alrighty, but let's go ahead and dive into the news stories for this week. And up first is that Ridley Scott is teasing a potential Gladiator 3, and that it will be a direct sequel to Gladiator 2's ending. I'm not going to delve into why this would be a sequel, because I feel like the article had a couple spoilers for the potential end of Gladiator 2, but it looks like it will be a continuation of the ending of Gladiator 2, specifically the ending. It will be more of a direct sequel, as Gladiator 2 is kind of more of a legacy sequel set, years and years after the original film. So, this is going to be more of a direct sequel, it sounds like, if it ends up happening. That, it has to happen if the first movie is successful. So if Terrifier is successful, then, we'll go through with it. Up after that, Terrifier 4 has been announced before Terrifier 3 has even released into theaters. This is not that surprising. The franchise is very successful. There are some low-budget horror films that make a lot of money when they debut in theaters, and so it makes sense to keep the franchise going. And really, these films seem to be one-upping the previous one and kind of getting more and more crazy. But it's also refreshing to see a horror franchise come out of nowhere, especially an indie one. This is not being made by any major studios, and you can tell, which is a really nice part of these films. Whether you like them or not, it is something that can be respected. Up after that, Disney Plus is beginning its crackdown on password sharing. I checked Disney Plus earlier. This did not happen to me. It's going to take the same route eventually as Netflix, where you're going to have to be on the same IP address as the account holder. But then also, if you want to have additional people on the account, it's going to cost $10 per person. It's really unfortunate. This is what the path is taking for these. I get it. Netflix. We all criticized Netflix when they did this, but then it ended up being one of the most successful things they've ever done. So, it makes sense, unfortunately. But it is really annoying for people like me who, we have it through our family. Now we're going to have to all get it individually. So, very, very frustrating. Up after that, Samara Weaving is all in on returning to Ready or Not for the sequel that's coming up. Samara Weaving, of course, being the main actress from the first film. And I haven't seen Ready or Not. Honestly, this is supposed to be the story for Nadia, and I think Nadia has seen Ready or Not. I don't know what she thinks about it. It's as long as the original cast member is super excited about coming back, that's always a good sign. It means it's hopefully got a good script and it's got a good team behind it, and hopefully will live up to the first one. The first one had some really positive reception, so hopefully it's, as good as what the first one was. Up after that, a sequel to Transformers 1 has seemingly been announced and will remain separate from live-action films. Obviously, with the meaning of that being that the animated films canon will remain separate from the rest of the films, like the Michael Bay films, and then the current like Bumblebee era type stuff, which makes sense. I mean, the lore is completely different, and there's a different visual style for sure. But I mean, this all hinges on Transformers 1 being a success. I mean, it did have a pretty decent weekend, so we'll just have to wait and see if it's something that ends up working out. Next up, 28 years later, the upcoming sequel to the 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later franchise was completely filmed on an iPhone 15. This is kind of crazy. I mean, we've seen films filmed on a phone before, but this is obviously using the latest, greatest iPhone. Granted, it's on a huge rig of lenses and lighting equipment and all sorts of technical stuff. It's not just the phone by itself, but I mean, interesting. I don't know why it couldn't have been a better camera on an Android device, but it's okay. Next up, Jennifer Lee is stepping down as Disney's animation CCO, to direct Frozen 3 and 4. I want to go ahead and double check this. I believe Jennifer Lee did direct one of, if not both of, the Frozen films. She did co-direct the first one and co-directed the second one as well. So she's currently in an executive level position for Disney Animation Studios. And you can definitely see how that would provide some sort of conflict of interest. And it's really refreshing to see an executive go, okay, yeah, I'm going to step down so I can focus purely on directing this film. I think it's a really respectful choice, even though the last Frozen film, Frozen 2, wasn't really that good. Hopefully Frozen 3 can be better. And I completely forgot they were doing Frozen 4, which makes sense. It's one of the most profitable franchises ever. Next up, James Cameron says that there's more than a plan to keep the Terminator franchise going. I get it. This is not a franchise that they're going to let die anytime soon. It's a film franchise that is pretty mixed, depending on who you ask. I mean, the first two films, very good, very historic, with the rest of them being mixed, mediocre to bad, depending on, again, who you ask. There are some people who really like them. But recently we just had the Terminator Zero anime series on Netflix, which has done very, very well with both critics and viewers. And so I think that'll kind of rejuvenate some interest in this franchise and hopefully get some more talented directors and performers in on it, and hopefully bring us some more films that are really exciting and kind of keeping the franchise fresh. And, you know, it's also kind of interesting to think what they're going to do with the franchise, given the AI kind of sphere that we're in right now, and what kind of story that they're going to tell with it. So, hey, who knows? Next up, Martin Scorsese's Life of Jesus and Frank Sinatra biopics have been postponed. We do not know any reasoning for this yet. I wasn't able to find anything on any news outlets. His Life of Jesus film was, of course, supposed to be the next one, I believe. And then Frank Sinatra was supposed to film either concurrently or right afterward. And they've both been delayed. So, unfortunately, we don't know when any of that is going to be moving forward. Next up, Freddie Prinze Jr. will be reprising the role of Ray Bronson in the upcoming I Know What You Did Last Summer sequel. This is something I threw in here because it's obviously a big story, but I threw it in here for our special guest, who was unfortunately not able to make it today due to a power outage. So I do not know a whole lot about the I Know What You Did Last Summer movies and that kind of franchise, but I do know that Freddie Prinze Jr. is from the original, and so having him come back is really nice. And I think a couple other actors are coming back as well. For all you Paddington fans, including me, Paddington 4 and a TV series are in the works. So we are getting Paddington in Peru, which is Paddington 3, coming out a little bit later this year. And they've officially announced that they're going to be doing a fourth one, which, as long as the third one is just as good as the first two, or even a fraction as good, we'll be okay with that. But it's cool that we're getting a TV series as well. I don't know how they're going to be able to attribute the high level of special effects that the Paddington films have to a TV series, but we've seen that TV series have come so far in their visual effects recently that it really shouldn't be too much of an issue. And as we are getting into spooky month, scary piece of news here. Borderlands will be releasing on physical media on October 22nd. This is, in fact, the scariest piece of news that I've seen all day. The fact that this travesty of a film will be unfortunately purchased out there by someone on Blu-ray, 4K, DVD, whatever. That it's just unfortunate that it's going to be coming available. But what is fortunate that is becoming available is Deadpool and Wolverine. It will be available on digital October 1st and will be on Blu-ray October 22nd. So, or 4K Blu-ray, all the kind of physical formats on the 22nd, digital on the 1st. No word yet on a Disney Plus or Hulu streaming date yet, but that'll probably be at least a month or two after the film releases on physical. So, and they did just announce kind of an award season push for the film, which is normal. I mean, films like this do get award season pushes. I mean, obviously not as big as things that are going to be eventually nominated for Best Picture, but they will, in fact, get pushes. Up after that, James Cameron has been defending bad dialogue in his films, with the reasoning is that the films are successful. Someone, it was like a Q&A session that he was on, was asking about his cringy dialogue and kind of things along that same sphere. And he said, well, show me the films that you've made that have made $2 billion. That's not an excuse. Just because a movie is successful does not mean that it is good. You know, we've seen this happen with Venom. We've seen this happen with the Avatar films. I mean, the Avatar films are a little bit more, there's a conversation that can be had. The Venom films are not good, specifically the first one, and that movie made over $1 billion. Same with Aquaman. Both of them had very bad dialogue in them, which is a major part of why they didn't work, and they were still successful. So it's not an excuse. Just write your movies better, man. A24 has announced release dates for 2 of its upcoming Oscar season hopefuls, Queer and The Brutalist. The Brutalist is currently in the higher runnings right now for Best Picture. They're going to be releasing limited on November 27th for Queer and December 20th for The Brutalist, respectively. So they're going to be releasing just a handful of theaters across the country. They have to do that to qualify for the Best Picture kind of Oscar race and award season kind of requirements all over the place. So if you're lucky enough to have theaters nearby, they're going to have these, and you start seeing all the positive reviews that these are getting, you can go out and check them out. Up after that, Blumhouse and Peacock have partnered with the Stanley Hotel for a Halloween horror event called Overnightmare. This, of course, the Stanley Hotel being the hotel that served as the inspiration for The Shining. And actually, I believe they may have used it for some filming as well. And that's where I believe Stephen King stayed in and was kind of experiencing everything going on there, and inspired him to write the original book. So Blumhouse and Peacock are partnering up with them to have a Halloween haunted horror event. So if you have the money to fly out to, I believe it's Colorado, you can go take part. There should be tickets available, I believe, on Blumhouse's site. So you may have to search around online for those. Next up, the trailer for Ballerina is coming out tomorrow. This is the new upcoming film in the John Wick series. This is the one starring Ana de Armas, kind of the ballet academy that we've seen in the John Wick films. We do know that Keanu Reeves himself will be appearing in the movie as Keanu Reeves, as will Lance Reddick will be reprising his role as a concierge. It was the last thing he filmed in person, I believe, before he passed away. So we will get to see him again, which is very nice. And finally, for those of you who wanted to see Trap in theaters and were not able to, it will be available to stream on Max on October 25th, right in time for Halloween. I mean, the movie's not necessarily scary, but it's got some creepy moments, and it is a thriller. So if you're not really into horror, but you want to watch something that can get the blood pumping a little bit on Halloween, Trap will be there right in time for you. So, but those are it for our news stories this week. Let's go ahead and jump into these comments here. Power is still out on the phone. Yep. Hopefully we can get that restored for you, Nadia. We miss you here. I was so excited to have you on too. But hopefully power can get on and we can get you back on here. Surprised, not surprised for I Know What You Did Last Summer getting a sequel, considering Scream is still going. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. But, this film has been announced for a while. I want to say for at least a year or two. But, I mean, the Scream films have been better since they came back. I think Scream 6 and Scream 5 were better than 3 and 4, in my opinion. So, I mean, if they can kind of keep it going on that same level and try and keep it like a net positive kind of going forward, yeah, go for it. So Borderlands being released as an expensive drink coaster. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't even have it as a drink coaster. You know, when people go out to like a shotgun shooting range and they throw up clay pigeons, that's probably what I would buy some copies of Borderlands for. Once they hit the clearance bin at your local dollar store. Alrighty, so that is going to be it for the news stories and the comments. Let's go ahead and get into the movie trailers that came out this week. I'm scrolling across the bottom there because there were quite a few that released this week. I'll just go ahead and start out with the ones that really stood out to me. Thunderbolts looks like it's going to be a fun Marvel film. Not the best looking Marvel film ever, but it does look like it'll be a fun enough one. Red One is continuing to look like a disappointment, but we'll see. Who knows? Could be good when it comes out. Gladiator 2 getting its new trailer and spoiling a story element. Basically, the entire movie's in the trailer, so I don't know why they're marketing this movie the way they are. We also have A Real Pain, which is another Oscar frontrunner, getting a new trailer. Sinners, which looks really good, in my opinion. A new kind of vampire horror film coming from Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan. Ryan Coogler obviously directing both Black Panther films and Creed. So very excited to see this movie. It looks bonkers. And so I'm so excited for it. And then as far as the other stuff kind of going on here, a lot of kind of more indie movie trailers, some horror stuff like VHS Beyond. We got a new Pedro Almodovar film with The Room Next Door, which I have not seen the trailer for that yet. If I had to pick anything this whole week, though, for a trailer that stands out for me, it's going to be Sinners. And I've heard actually good things about Daddy's Head, too, which is a very interesting name for a trailer. If y'all haven't seen the VHS Beyond trailer, that's some good stuff. Yeah, looks good. Also, there is a acting debut and a directing debut in there, which I'm very excited to see. Directing debut from Kate Siegel, who was in a lot of the Mike Flanagan stuff, and then an acting debut from Alana Pierce, who was a IGN kind of host for a while, also worked at Funhouse, and then now works in various different areas. So very excited to see that movie. Hopefully it's going to be good. Alrighty, and let me go ahead. Gotta get some water, gotta stay hydrated. I'm the only one here, so. Let's talk about the movies that came out last weekend, though. And at the top of the order for the box office, Beetlejuice retains its crown with $25.9 million. Not too surprising there. Transformers 1 coming in with 24.6 for second place. Just that close. It almost took over Beetlejuice. We'll see. Animation's been having a really interesting year where it really persists in the top 5 and keeps going. And I think with the good word of mouth around Transformers 1, it'll probably stay 2, 3, 4, right around that area. But this has been a great weekend for horror, though. Beetlejuice obviously being horror kind of inspired, kind of that same aesthetic. But Speaking No Evil coming in third place with $5.8 million, and Never Let Go debuting in fourth place with $4.4 million, which is really interesting because I feel like I haven't seen any trailers in theaters or online for Never Let Go, except for like once, I think, in theaters. So impressive that it debuted at number 4. And then Deadpool and Wolverine slipping to number 5 with $3.8 million. It has been on the top 5 for 2 months now. So not that surprising. You rock that one-man army, Mr. O'Keefe. You know what? It doesn't mean I'm not sad. I wish Nadia was here. It would have made a fantastic stream. Hopefully that power gets restored pretty quickly. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the movies that are coming out this weekend. Of course, we're starting off with probably one of the biggest releases of the year, at least news story-wise, and that is Megalopolis. The city of New Rome is the main conflict between Caesar Catalina, a brilliant artist in favor of a utopian future, and the greedy mayor Franklin Cicero. Between them is Julia Cicero, her loyalty divided between her father and her beloved. This is, of course, Francis Ford Coppola's new film that has been years upon years and money upon money in the making. And hopefully, I'm planning on checking it out this weekend, so hopefully it's decent. The reviews have not been that good. Up after that is a movie that I'm very excited for, and so is Kevin, which is The Wild Robot. After a shipwreck, an intelligent robot called Roz is stranded on an uninhabited island. To survive the harsh environment, Roz bonds with the island's animals and cares for an orphaned baby goose. This movie has been very, very highly anticipated by Kevin and I cannot wait to go check this out this weekend. It is also going to be playing in IMAX along with Mr. Coppola's Megalopolis. So, hey, I'm all here for it. I'll do 2 in one day if I need to. Up after that, another film I've been looking forward to is Lee, the story of American photographer Lee Miller, a fashion model who became an acclaimed war correspondent for Vogue magazine during World War II. This is starring Kate Winslet, Alexander Skarsgård, and a dramatic role debut for Andy Samberg. So, pretty much looking forward to that one. And after that is a brand new horror film coming out called Azrael. In a world where no one speaks, a devout female-led community hunts down a young woman who has escaped imprisonment. Recaptured, Azrael is due to be sacrificed to an ancient evil in the wilderness, but fights for her own survival. This looks to be like a post-Christian rapture film. So, I mean, it looks beautifully shot. So I am definitely very excited to see how that ends up going. Alrighty. And that is it for the movies that are coming out this weekend. Hopefully some of them sound a little bit exciting to you. I know there's several that I'm looking forward to seeing. I haven't been able to actually go to the theaters in a little while. So, it's okay. Can't go every week. Sometimes things happen and life takes over. As much as movies are my life, I can't always be in the theater, which is sad. Alrighty. But let's go ahead and change the tone here. And we're going to go ahead and start talking about the movies that we watched this week. So, obviously, Kevin is not here. Like I said, Kevin's not able to be here today. And Nadia was unable to step in as guest host because of a power outage. So I will be going over both my movies and Kevin's that he checked out last week. So let's go ahead. We'll just go ahead and go through mine first, and then we'll go through Kevin's and then switch back for the Wheel of Fame. So, the first movie that I watched this week was Waterworld, and hoo boy, this one is a very mixed bag. I remember enjoying this film a lot when I was a kid, but I think that now is more due to the fact that it had an incredible stunt show at Universal Studios. It's a mixed bag because it goes so hard and does so well with its production design, and how it looks and how everything functions. These sets are all real. Like, there's barely any visual effects that I can really discern, but like most of these are huge sets, and they're really impressive. The costume design, the Mariner's ship, which is like a fun take on a catamaran, is all really cool. And it's just unfortunate because the story and the characters just don't match up to that same level. It's nowhere near the same level, and it's really annoying because it could have been a really fun Mad Max on the water film, which is desperately what it's trying to be, but it misses everything by just not having characters that are interesting and a world that just really isn't. Again, it's just not that interesting. So it's a mixed bag. It's a beautifully designed film, but that's about it. Next up, I did go to the theaters. I went to the theaters to go and see Superman, the Christopher Reeve story, which debuted as a Fathom event this last weekend on Saturday only in theaters. And I gave it an 88 out of 100. There was not a dry eye in this theater. People were tearing up like crazy. In so many ways, this is the story of Christopher Reeve. We get to find out about who he was from when he was a child up until his accident, and then from his accident until his unfortunate passing years later. A lot of the charity work that he did in starting the Christopher Reeve Foundation, which is now the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation. And it is just a gorgeous film. It's definitely a documentary that tugs on your heartstrings because this is someone who passed away, and they're interviewing people who this person was important to. So yeah, I don't want to say it's not deceptively playing with your emotions, but it's designed to. It's okay to feel sad every once in a while, and it's okay to let emotions be tangled with, especially when it's done this well. There's one shot in particular in this documentary that's incredible. There's a shot of just the front of Christopher Reeve's house, and his dog is just kind of walking around out front by itself, and then eventually just sits down on the porch. And it's a very stinging shot after we just kind of in the film, learn about Christopher Reeve's passing. It is a fantastic film, and if you have the chance to see it, I'm sure it will be on Max sometime soon. I would highly recommend it. It was an excellent documentary, and into a man that I really honestly did not know a lot about, and I have not seen the original Superman films. They are on my list, so it's just kind of nice to know who he is going forward. But going from one of the highlights of my week to one of the down points, I did unfortunately check out the Garfield movie that came out on Netflix recently, and oh boy, this movie is bad. And it's not just bad because of a bad casting decision. Yes, Chris Pratt is not good in this movie. He is literally not doing nothing to add to the character, but that's really not the biggest reason why this movie fails. He could have been a bad character in a somewhat decent movie, like the Super Mario Brothers movie. This movie is similar to Space Jam: A New Legacy in the fact that this film wants nothing to do with the core concept of Garfield. And it just starts telling a story that makes no sense to the character, is not fun to watch, has characters that don't make any sense whatsoever to be in a Garfield movie. It just does not feel like a Garfield movie. In the same way that Space Jam: A New Legacy didn't feel like a Looney Tunes film, it's very, very similar. This film is in the hands of people in a studio and a corporation that see dollar signs and don't see the artistic potential of what this character could potentially mean to people. That being said, I don't think we need a Garfield movie. The character has not been relevant for forever, and that aside, you could surprise me and make a great film about irrelevant characters. It's happened before. But this movie just sucks. Every part of it. It is annoying. It is unfunny. It's poorly animated. Like, this is the same animation studio that did Spider-Verse. Why do they continue? I don't know why. Literally, Sony Animation is so hit or miss that it is painful when they miss, and it's just so reassuring when they hit. It's so annoying. But those are the three movies that I checked out outside the wheel spin. We do have a couple of comments here. I'm sad Cinemark and Foothill Ranch closed down. They only had it for a year. Yeah, we haven't heard why. It may be that no one was going there. I unfortunately, I don't know. Apparently everyone and their mom is trying to call Edison. I've been a hold this whole time. Yeah, I mean, as soon as power goes out, they have to, call. Everyone tries to call and report it. So hopefully it gets reinstated very soon. And yet the Garfield movie made a profit. Go figure. Yep, because you had a bunch of stupid-ass kids who need a movie to take their attention away from their tablets for an hour and a half, and I'm sure they weren't even paying attention during this movie because it's just so bad. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and go over the movies that Kevin checked out this week. I will just kind of go through quickly on his scores. Let me go ahead and pull up his letterbox real quick so I can add some sort of context to what is going on here. So up first, as far as what Kevin watched outside the wheel, Kevin watched Southpaw, a fighting movie with Jake Gyllenhaal. He says that it's a great boxing movie with a lot of heart and grit, and that Jake Gyllenhaal does a great job in this film as a coming from rags to riches and then having the situation that brings him back down. Really enjoyed the characters, the boxing in the movie, and the training montages. And he kind of said that he was feeling like he learned a lot about boxing. So there's Kevin's review for Southpaw. Up after that, Kevin had a low point this week like I did with Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Kevin wanted to watch this to see a superhero movie and should have watched something else. That's probably the most brutal review I've ever heard. One of them. This is just so formulaic that as soon as the bad guy touches the trident, you know exactly what's going to happen. Yep, exactly. The acting was just okay. CGI was just okay, but I didn't like anything kind of going on underwater. Yep. Bad movie. The first one is tolerable. The second one is definitely not, which is unfortunate because it's directed by James Wan, who is a very good director. And up after that, Kevin watched Frankenweenie, saying that the movie is sad, but great at the same time. The animation is fantastic, and the black and white choice he enjoyed as well. Kind of a retelling for Frankenstein, but for a family movie night. He really appreciated that. The acting in the movie is okay, but you're there for the story and the animation, in my opinion. Sure. The story is the same in a way as Frankenstein with some subtle differences. I wish it would show up at Disneyland sometimes as a character. Yeah, absolutely. Could definitely show up in terms of like a Halloween the Oogie Boogie Bash type stuff at some point. But he's not really a villain. That's the only thing. So it'd probably have to be like in Disneyland proper. But totally get what you're saying. All right, so those are the movies that Kevin checked out this week. Are you going to spin for Kevin this week as well as yours? Yes, I will be spinning for Kevin this week in addition to myself. So, yes. All right, let's go ahead. I feel like the music's a little loud. Let's turn it down a little bit. All right. Before we get into those wheel spins from last week, gotta stay hydrated. All righty. Let's go ahead and talk about some movies that we covered for the wheel spins. So obviously, Kevin and I each get a short, and my short was called Who Killed Who? This is a short that I did not know existed, and I am so glad that I checked it out. And I know this is Joey that requested this. This is fantastic. If you haven't seen the short before, you should definitely find it. If you're a fan of movies like Clue or those kind of like Knives Out or like whodunits, but also a little twinge of a horror aspect, you should definitely check out Who Killed Who. It's a fantastically animated short, one that I feel like is definitely ahead of its time in how good it looks. But also, it's a darker short, and I really applaud Tex Avery for doing that. And it's really refreshing to see something that's not Warner Brothers and not Disney around this time that is just so different and so adult. I really enjoyed this. It is one of the better shorts that I've seen in a long time. So, Joey, thank you for requesting this. And up after that is Kevin's short. This is the one that I had picked for Kevin, and he had checked out The Elephant's Garden, which is a short by Felix Colgrave. And I'm going to pull up his review here. He loves these shorts because they're so crazy and bizarre, but cool at the same time. And he uses the word stunning. So, Kevin, if you're still here in the chat, which you should be working, but if you're here in the chat, you can talk a little bit about how much you really enjoyed that. The ending of Who Killed Who caught me by surprise the first one. 100%. Yeah, I did not see that coming. And it was really refreshing. 100%. Alrighty. So, first film that I checked out this week for the wheel spin was called Boss Level from 2021. This is a Hulu exclusive action film from director Joe Carnahan, who gave us the biggest film he gave us is The A-Team, and stars Frank Grillo, who played Crossbones in the MCU and has done a bunch of action roles. And also a bunch of guest stars in this movie: Mel Gibson, Naomi Watts, Michelle Yeoh, upon a bunch of other little cameos here and there. The score is a 50. That's not a bad score. That's actually a better score than I was anticipating giving this movie, because it's so much more enjoyable than it should have been. Frank Grillo brings a decent level of charm and charisma and wit to this movie, and also physical comedy, which is actually the strength of this movie as opposed to its action. We'll get there in a second. He's not a perfect character, and we see his mistakes, and they're a part of what makes the movie funny and fun to watch and legitimately engaging. The rest of the cast is just there, though. They're existing, and they're saying their lines. They're not doing anything really to make themselves stand out. There's a couple of side characters that play assassins that are more memorable than Naomi Watts or Mel Gibson are in this movie. I don't know why they got such big name actors for these roles. You know, it could have been anyone, which is just kind of annoying. The action in this movie is not always great. It's hastily shot and it's weirdly edited. Some of the visual effects are really poor, like stock explosion effects really stand out. And when they lean into the action, which is a lot of this movie, is where it kind of suffers. And when they lean into the physical comedy and kind of like, because this is Groundhog Day, but like video gamey type of a thing. And it really, when it leans into the kind of unserious comedic side, it's great. But the film really fails because it tries to do the same thing that The Beekeeper did that I talked about a couple weeks ago, which is that it injects way too many plot elements into the story. There's an aspect of the end of the world, this big sci-fi machine, all these random assassins that show up. Like it's a weird story and world, and they keep putting layer upon layer into it, and it just doesn't work. So that's kind of annoying. That being said, though, it is a free movie through Hulu. So check it out if you want to. It's a fun enough movie. I would recommend it for people who are looking for something fun and not that serious. They don't want to watch like an incredibly artsy movie or anything like that. Yeah, it's an okay piece of action that the right person will find to be fun. Alrighty, and Kevin's first movie is Day of the Dead from 2008. Kevin said that this zombie movie could have been very good, but it just falls short with the acting, and the CGI is pretty bad as well. You don't really care about the characters at all, and then there's a love story that they just try to force into it. But he said the zombies in this movie were great, the makeup was fantastic, and the way they ran fast and when they were somewhat intelligent was a nice twist. So Kevin did give the film a 40. Again, not a terrible score, but also not the best zombie movie ever, apparently, according to Kevin. And Nadia, I know you're still in the chat, so if you want to chime in a little bit on Day of the Dead, because it looks like you had watched it as well, it would be love to hear what you have to say about it. Up after that, my second movie was Daddy-O. This is a movie I had heard about, but didn't know what to expect. It really only stars Dakota Johnson and Sean Penn, and it almost entirely takes place in a taxi cab over the course of one night, going from JFK Airport in New York to an apartment or a condo or wherever this location is. Starting out, I do want to call out the director, Christy Hall. It's her first film, and she does a fantastic job. It is superbly directed. She gets really good performances out of her actors, and it's shot really well. It has this like dreamlike fantasy element to it, which I wasn't expecting. Really like that. Dakota Johnson is fantastic here. It's probably her best role up there with Am I Okay? Really, really solid performance. She brings a wonderful level of emotion in points, but also some comedy as well. And the thing is, though, Sean Penn is just absolutely incredible in this movie. One of his better performances that I've seen. He brings a genuine, like, street level wisdom and kind of an intelligence to this character, and they're two very different characters that begin talking over the course of this night and kind of come close together as, you know, people who just connect over this random situation. And it's a really refreshing kind of story and refreshing characters, and you know, I really, really dug that part of the movie. Aside from the performances and direction, no, there's just not a whole lot else going on here. It's just two people in a cab talking. They don't really like change up locations. There's no other kind of, you know, footage except for maybe at the end of the movie. So it does get a little stale. And maybe it's the director not wanting to take any kind of chances with the film and just kind of tell it as it is, which I get. But I would have liked some sort of change of scenery, maybe a different location. You know, oh, the taxi cab broke down. Do you want to go get a piece of pie and talk? Like, there's something like that, right? That may have taken away from what the story was, but it would have been nice to see something else going on. It's a fantastic performance piece and a wonderful debut from the director, but there just isn't a whole lot of meat on the bones, but it is still a good film. So 72 out of 100 is what I'm going to give Daddy-O. And finally, we have Kevin's last film he watched, which is Children of the Corn from 1984. Kevin says that this is a great older horror movie that he really enjoyed, and it has a creepiness to it, which he loved. The kid acting in the movie was decent, or great, actually. They weren't annoying at all and served a purpose in this movie, and they nailed it. The main characters were okay, but the kids outshine them for sure. The CGI is not the greatest, but it's an older movie, so it has some nostalgic feeling to it. Kevin did give this movie an 87 out of 100, which is a pretty high score. It's the same score as Frankenweenie. I'm not saying that because it deserves a low score. I haven't seen Children of the Corn, so I can't speak to that. Just it's kind of nice to see a high score compared to Day of the Dead. So, but those are it for the movies. Nadia saw the Day of the Dead back in June, gave it 2.5 stars, so I liked it a little more than K-Swiss. Alrighty. But it sounds like you guys are kind of on the same level, because his was 2 stars and yours was 2.5, so right around the same. So, cool. Alrighty. So that is going to be it for the movies we checked out last week. So, go ahead and start getting those comments in for the movies that you would like to see on the wheel this week. And let's go ahead. Let me pull that up. And let's see here. Let's share this wheel screen. Wheel. There's the wheel. Alrighty. So we've got the Wheel of Fate up. So go ahead if you have any suggestions for movies that you would like to see on this wheel, go ahead and get them into the chat. You can put as many as you would like. You just got to give me time to type them in. Any suggestions? It is spooky month, or we're getting into spooky month. Our next live stream will be in spooky month. It'll be in October, so don't be afraid to get some scary movies in here. You know, I'm definitely a lot newer to the horror genre. There's a lot of classics and big horror films that I haven't seen, so you can definitely throw those on here. You know, I'm sure Kevin will take whatever he's given. So, alrighty. Well, we got a bunch of shorts from Joey here. Let's go ahead and get these on. Shorts. A gruesome twosome. Then we got Bowery Bugs. Well, don't wait till October to submit scary stuff. The next stream will be in October. We'll be here. You can submit them. It's fine. But if it's not, you know, if it's just because it's not right now, I get it. Hick cup. Okay. Little school mouse. Okay. Wet blanket policy. And then Donald's off day. Alrighty. Would definitely love more of those MGM shorts, Joey, at some point. It would be really great. Alrighty. Any other movie recommendations? Anything that you want to see on the wheel that Kevin and I could potentially either be forced to watch or be super excited to watch? Go ahead and toss them my way. Fine. The Thing from Another World. Alrighty. We'll do it. Alrighty. The original Carrie. We'll put that on here. I'll put Carrie OG. Awesome. I have not seen that movie, so I'm very excited if I do get that to check out. Any other movies? We'll give it another 2 minutes, we'll see, for anything you want to see. I'm hoping this week I got a drama, and I got a, what was the other one? An action movie. I'm hoping for a horror movie. I'm hoping for something, maybe a comedy. I would be excited to get 2 horror movies. So, Nadia, if you got more horror movies to make me watch. Return to the Living Dead. I believe that's already on here, but let me see. Yeah, Return to the Living Dead is already on here, Nadia. I did see your comment here. It is right here where I am currently highlighting. So that is already on the list. 2 of the shorts I suggested are MGM, Tom and Jerry. Okay, awesome. I was thinking more like the Tex Avery shorts, like Who Killed Who, but obviously we'll get those thrown on the list at some point. Walkie Talkie Hockey. I already watched that one, so I'll go ahead and put Kevin's name on that. 13 Ghosts. Alrighty, that is one that I have not seen, so I'll put it on here. I think Kevin covered that, so let me double check that. Hold on. 13 Ghosts. I feel like you did that recently. Am I crazy? What? Why am I... I could have sworn he did that recently. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. Yeah, 2001. Okay. I feel like... Yeah, he did. Okay. Cool. Oh, it's got 13 in the middle. Oh, look at that. That's so clever. Alrighty. Yeah, we saw it together. Okay, cool. Yeah, I haven't seen it. I've heard. I think Kevin liked it, if I'm not mistaken. Gave it 4 stars. Yeah, I'm excited. Hopefully, I get it. Alrighty, it has been 2 minutes, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to make sure this is all shuffled up. I'm going to go ahead and spin for, we'll spin for me first. So let's go ahead and spin to see what my first movie is this week. And since Kevin's not here this week, I'll just respin if it's a Kevin's pick for Garrett situation. Hunger is the movie that I'll be checking out. I want to go ahead and double check if this is on this here. There's a couple movies named Hunger. I'm guessing it's the one with Michael Fassbender. So, Hunger 2008 is a movie that I'll be checking out this week. All right. And let's go ahead and remove that from the wheel. And we'll go ahead and spin for Kevin's first movie. I love that you can't see anything on the wheel. It's fantastic. All right. And Kevin's movie, The Upside, from 2017. Oh yeah, this is. I have seen something. I haven't seen the movie, but I've seen things about the movie before. So Kevin will be watching. It looks like a feel-good drama film. So that is The Upside from 2017. Alrighty, let's go ahead and we're going to spin it again. This will be my second one. What is Garrett's second movie going to be? Who knows? We'll find out here in just a moment. Hopefully it's a short and get to spin again. That is a Kevin movie, so we will just close that, shuffle up. I do not want to watch Madam Web again. It's actually, surprisingly, not the worst film of 2024 now. So, there you go. Terrifier 2. I asked for a horror movie, and I got one. I'm actually really excited for this. I've been wanting to check out Terrifier 2 really badly. And Nadia, we got it. We were talking about this on Sunday, I think, for Terrifier 2. And we got it. Or I got it, excuse me. Alrighty. Terrifier 2 is off the list. Let's go ahead and spin it again for Kevin. Hell yeah, right in time for Terrifier 3. Yep. We should all go to the theaters to check it out together. I think that'd be great. Alrighty, Kevin's second movie is what? So Kevin did get a horror movie as well. Alright. Cool. Alright, so Kevin is going to be watching White Chicks this week, and he is not here to fight against that answer. So, there we go. Alrighty. Let's go ahead. We're going to shuffle this up here and see if we can get a short for myself and for Kevin. I mean, we could just keep spinning for Kevin and give him like 10 movies because he's not here. But he's not here because of work. So, Clouds, Chance, and Meatballs, the closest one is A Gruesome Twosome. So let me go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and get that off the list here. Let's get A Gruesome Twosome off the list. Add that to my list here. The Gruesome Twosome sounds like a wonderful time. Alrighty, and let's go ahead and spin for Kevin's short. You think you think I left? Hey, you should be working, bud. You got lives to save, Mr. Doctor. He's not actually a doctor, so don't take that to heart. A Sing-a-Song of Sixpence. That is quite a name. Kevin, that's your short. Sing a Song of Sixpence. Alrighty. So, that is the wheel spin this week, which is awesome. So, for those of you, just in case, didn't catch it, Kevin will be checking out The Upside from 2017. He will also be checking out White Chicks. I'm sorry ahead of time, Kevin. And Sing a Song of Sixpence, which is the short for the week. I will be checking out the movie Hunger from 2008. Terrifier 2, which just in time for Terrifier 3, so really excited about that. And A Gruesome Twosome, which is the short that I'll be checking out this week. So that is kind of it for the scheduled part of the show. I mean, obviously, it's been just myself tonight. I'm sure you guys are so sick of hearing my voice. Just me. I know you guys are all here for Kevin. But, you know, It's all right. If you have any questions, anything you want to talk about, anything you want to kind of open up the kind of discussion for, fire away. Kevin got a Three Stooges short. Hey, I think Kevin got one before, so this is his second one. With Shemp. Oh, okay. I know, Shemp is one of the... Okay, yeah. Sorry I couldn't make it on. Power is still out. Hey, it's all right, Nadia. I mean, I'm really sad you couldn't be here, but obviously forces outside of our control. Was really hoping to have you on here. Was really excited. But as I said before, though, in the comment section is Nadia's channel, Horror and More. Please go subscribe if you haven't already. She makes awesome horror content, and especially in time for Spooky Month, is some really good stuff that you should check out. And she is a wonderful person to hear talk about movies. Nonsense, before you know it, it'll be perfect for ASMR. Who says I'm not already? I already have an ASMR channel out there. You just don't know about it yet. That's actually a lie. I don't have one. Yeah, I was really hoping to have Nadia on this week. It's all right, though. There's probably going to be times where Kevin's going to have to work. Sometimes the schedule is weird for where he works, so we'd love to have you back on at some point. Or maybe even we could do 3 people during Spooky Month. Who knows? Keep your eyes on the channel. We'll find out. Kevin's really going to have to pay you back for some of those, things that he said he was going to get you. The last time you'll see me in my 20s. No! Hey, the 30s are where it's at. The dirty 30s, I'm telling you right now, haven't felt better since I hit 30. Or wait, when I hit 30, I started feeling better. It's hard. But happy early birthday. Can't wait to celebrate with you next week. It's going to be a great time. Can't wait. Alrighty. Anything else anyone would like to chat about? Any questions you got for me? Anything regarding some of the news we got earlier today? Anything that you would like to know about the channel? I'm sure, you could do the dangerous thing here on the internet and ask someone on the internet for their opinions. That's a dangerous thing. Joey, as a 41-year-old, I remember the 20s. Youth. Yeah. There's plenty of times when I start remembering the good old days. So, I don't know. I'm one of those weird people. I miss school. It sounds really weird, but I don't miss it because of like the homework or the awkwardness or anything like that. I miss it because of like the structured days and kind of like the assignments. You knew what you were supposed to do for like homework and stuff. And like a lot of times at work, you don't know what the fuck you're supposed to be doing. So I definitely miss a little bit more of that structure from those days and not having to pay for so much stuff and gas and food and all that. But you know what? Hey, it's all right. So we're getting pretty close to the end of the year, though. Are there any movies that all of you are still excited for? I know Nadia would have said Terrifier 3. She's super stoked for that. I mean, we all are. We're hearing some really good things about the movie coming out. Some early reviews. School's greater than work. Yeah. I mean, work does give me money, which pays for things, which is nice. But yeah, I would say school is better than work. 100%. Which is why I'm going back for my master's, even though I have to work at the same time. But I don't know. It's a shot at something cool in the meantime. And I know you and Kevin have been going back to school, so hopefully that's been a little nice to have. But yeah, I know like Nadia and Kevin are looking forward to Terrifier 3. Kevin and I are looking forward to The Wild Robot, which comes out this Friday. Megalopolis is going to be an interesting film. Hopefully it's at least somewhat decent. And coming out later this year, I'm still really excited for Nosferatu. I think it's going to be one of my biggest, most anticipated films of the year. Still haven't seen Sing Sing from A24. Really looking forward to that movie. Heard really good things about The Brutalist and Queer. Very excited for those as well. It's really about it that comes to mind right now. Most of the other stuff's going to be coming next year. So, but yeah. Any other questions? Anything else that anyone would like to discuss before we head off for the evening? I don't know why water just hits so well right now, or hits so hard, whatever the phrase is. I'm not a kid anymore. Alrighty. Well, doesn't look like there's anything else coming up. So, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. I know it's been kind of interesting to have a one-man show. Unfortunately, Kevin wasn't able to make it for work reasons, and our special guest Nadia was unable to make it due to a power outage. So very unfortunate. But you know, it was nice to spend time with you guys a little bit. Joey, the meaning of life. 42 is the meaning of life. If you know what that's from, you get some brownie points. Meaning of life, I don't have an easy answer for you. Actually, I do have an easy answer. There is no meaning. It is what we make of it. Make your own meaning. You know, make yourself happy, make others happy, continue your family tree. You know, make your own meaning. That's really the only thing I can say. I know that was a joke, but then I got real there for a second. But again, thank you so much for watching us this week. Of course, we do have our live stream that goes live every Wednesday, like we are tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We do have 2 weeks coming up, though, not next week, but the week after and the week after that, which will be the 9th and the 16th. We will not be live on those nights. We may have to shift the nights around because Kevin and I will be going to Not Scary Farm on one of those days and Universal Halloween Horror Nights on the other. And so we may have to move it to Thursday or move it to Tuesday. We'll keep you guys informed. We'll make a post here on YouTube. We probably won't skip the stream because that's 2 weeks of no us. I mean, which I'm sure some of you would celebrate 2 weeks of not having to hear my voice or Kevin's. But, you know, we are going to have to figure something out for those. But of course, every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And they're all live on the channel as well afterward. You can check it out on the live panel. You can see all the recordings of past streams we've done. And then also, we have our show Movie Club that goes live every Friday. This week is a super exciting one that we're going to be having to discuss the film Metropolis from 1927. It is almost 100 years old. And in many ways, it is a movie that's very much ahead of its time. So cannot wait to discuss that. That episode is going to be going live on Friday, assuming the power stays on over at Kevin and Nadia's place and Kevin is able to record. But anyhow, I hope you're all having a fantastic week, and I hope you continue to have a fantastic week. And from myself, Kevin, and Nadia, hope you all have a fantastic, spooky month. So, because this is our last September stream. We'll see you on the other side. Happy Halloween, happy end of September, whatever you want to say. But until next time, as always, remember to keep those eyes, I just poked myself in the eye again, keep those eyes on the screen.